So good afternoon, everyone. Really nice to have all of you joining us. I'm Michelle Veazey, the Executive Director of New Hampshire Businesses for Social Responsibility, and we're really excited to have all of you join us for our first virtual volunteer fair. We're so fortunate to have a wonderful group of nonprofits to feature today. They're doing really valuable work in our communities, and I know they welcome your interest, and will certainly value the time that you might be able to share with them in a volunteer capacity. Today, we're going to kick off the gathering with interviews from 3 companies leading the way with their volunteer efforts. Following their insights, we'll invite each nonprofit to share a concise highlight of their organization, think of a 60-second TED Talk, where once you've had that opportunity to learn a highlight, you'll be invited to jump into their breakout rooms. So as Molly may have explained in your invite, you will be presented with a list of breakouts. If you don't see those come on your screen when Molly opens that up, what you want to do is go to the bottom of your screen and look for breakout, or click the 3 dots, and that should show you breakout. If you click on that, when Molly opens those rooms, you'll see a list of nonprofits, and you can choose which of those breakout rooms you want to join. Now, all of our nonprofits know that you want to visit multiple rooms, so they will be understanding that you're jumping in and out. So when you decide you've gotten enough information, you can hover over your lower right corner of your screen in the breakout room, and you'll be able to switch breakout rooms or come back to the main room. What I want to emphasize is that Molly and I will remain in this main room when you go off into breakouts, and so we'll be here to support you if you have a hard time moving around. We're happy to help guide you into the rooms that you want to go to. I also wanted to mention that you're going to receive a program with highlights of each of our nonprofits today and their contact information. But we know how valuable it is to really be able to connect with people. And so we hope that this opportunity today will give you that chance. So now I'm very happy and excited to share some insights with you from 3 companies that do have very successful volunteer programs. Each of them are happy to connect with you after this. So if you have further questions, because we're not giving them a ton of time either, so that you can have time in your breakout rooms. But what I want to suggest is that if you have more questions and you want to connect with them, perhaps you're wondering how they've set up such successful programs, just type your name and email address in the chat window and maybe share which one of the panelists that you'd like to talk to. So we have joining us today, Stacy Kyocho, the Community Citizenship Manager at Hypertherm. And I want to give a shout out to Hypertherm. These volunteer fairs really came from Hypertherm. They've been doing these for a lot of years. So thanks to Stacy and her crew. We also have Mariah Davis, who is the Community Impact Specialist with Masco Bank, and Christina Traurig, who's the Managing Director and Certified Financial Planner with Cornerstone Financial Planning. So I'm going to ask each of them to share a brief overview of how they approach volunteerism in their company, the impact that it's had, and why it's so important. So maybe we'll start with Stacy.
Sure. Thank you very much. Excited to see all these people excited about volunteerism. I feel like this is what's rejuvenating our community.
Question quickly, can anybody who's not speaking please mute yourself?
Okay, there we go. That's better. So Hypertherm is a global company. We've got 1,800 associates, 1,200 in New Hampshire. We're an essential manufacturer. So the reason I tell you that is because we have a wide variety of people working there in all different roles, but we've got a very robust volunteer program, but we don't go out all in one day, for a company-wide event as an annual event. On any given day, someone is volunteering somewhere. That's kind of what we pride ourselves in our program, is that it happens as people are choosing to do it. Our program really is a key driver of our positive engagement and our culture. We're 100% associate owned. And so part of our ownership is, yes, taking care of our company and our associates, but it's also taking care of our community and the environment. And we really believe that volunteering is where the associate is getting much more back even than they're giving to the nonprofit. They come back engaged, energized. It's driving innovation. It drives collaboration and team building. And in 2020, even despite the pandemic, we had 20,000 hours of volunteering with 70% participation. So I think, yes, it looked different. We didn't have as many group projects. We had more individual, but people were still invested in their communities. And I really think it helped them get through COVID. I know I heard from a lot of associates who their moments of volunteering helped anchor them and to really feel connected to the community and to the company. So I really believe it's a big part of our culture, and I'm absolutely ecstatic to talk with any of you offline about what we can do to help your program get off the ground.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stacy.
I just my 2 minutes. So
that's perfect. I'm
Okay.
going to come back and ask more questions. All right, so now I'm going to invite Mariah to share a little bit about Mascoma.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Mariah Davis here. I'm the Community Impact Specialist at Masco Bank. And part of what I do is manage our volunteer program. So Masco Bank is a community bank. We're headquartered in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and we have 30 locations throughout the states of New Hampshire and Vermont. So for this reason, our team members are very spread out throughout the two states. Our volunteer program, we call it Volunteer Time Off, and it's a way for us to encourage our colleagues to go out and volunteer with the community. Everyone's given 16 hours a year to volunteer, and this time can be used at any increment, so even allow it as little as 15 minutes. So as a certified B Corporation, we look to be a force for positive change. So with this mission, it really speaks to the reason we started the volunteer program, and also we're able to kind of fall back on that mission too, and remind people why it's so important to volunteer. So I want to talk a little bit about kind of the pandemic. So due to both stay-at-home orders and also for bankers, the Paycheck Protection Program, that really made our lives very busy. So because of that, our volunteer program in 2020 kind of took a little bit of a low-key sort of, we just didn't do as much of it. But one thing that we've been working on a lot in 2021 is thinking of more creative ways to do volunteering. So I wanted to share one of those ways that we're doing. One example of this is our virtual volunteer stuff that we've been doing. So one thing we're working with is a nonprofit called Senior Solutions in Vermont. So they have this thing called Telephone Reassurance Program. So every week we have a few people at the bank. They spend 15, 20 minutes talking to a senior citizen in Vermont, and they just talk with them and kind of just have some conversation, and it kind of helps them when they're kind of like isolated. So that's been really great. It's 100% remote. We've been doing other things like data entry, blog writing, and then also as being a bank, just some financial advice as well. And this has all been kind of video meetings and totally remote. So I'll kind of like with Stacy and Hypertherm, in the past, we kind of did these big group type events, but we're really kind of trying to focus now a little bit more on some more unique opportunities and giving people more flexibility as well. So thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Mariah. And now I'm happy to have Christina Trigg share a little bit about Cornerstone.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me today to talk about this. I'm excited to hear about all the nonprofits afterwards as well. So I'm Christina. I'm a financial planner at Cornerstone Financial Planning. We're women-owned and operated. We're also a B Corp company. We have offices in Portsmouth and up in Portland, Maine. Right now we have 9 employees, but we're still growing, so small but mighty. We try to promote a whole company culture of giving back to the local communities, whether that be through volunteer activities, through charitable giving, or just where we spend our money. We even try to get our office supplies locally if we can. We all live in the communities where we work. So we want to make the communities that we're living and working in a better place, and what better way to do that than through volunteer work. Similar to Mariah at Mascoma, we also give 16 hours off per year for employees for volunteer activities, and same as them, there's no constraints on it. They can do an hour here or there. They can take a whole day off. We also typically, because we are smaller, 9 of us to do a whole organization of a volunteer activity, we do like to do that together. So normally we would do like a United Way day out where we would do something. 2020 proved to be a little bit harder with that, but we're excited to get back to that after all this is over. And again, we don't restrict out for that 16 hours. Employees can engage in any volunteer activity that they'd like to. So we want them to find something that they're passionate about or something that they feel a personal connection to, and then spend their time with that organization. And it has been very well received. We ask our employees to track their volunteer hours so that we know if it's our 16 hours is being used, if it's successful, or if we should consider doing more or less. So between 7 employees in 2020, we volunteered a combined 168 hours. So that's about 23 hours per employee. So even during the pandemic, employees were still finding ways to spend their time within the community. So that was really exciting to see. And we're really looking forward, like I said, to doing more things as a group once we can. So thanks again for having me, and I'm excited to hear about the nonprofits.
Awesome. I'm wondering if the 3 of you, if any of you have special pointers that you might share with some of our participants today, if they're trying to get a volunteer program started at their company, maybe one thing you might advise that they think about doing when they're starting out. And any order is fine. Jump in.
I'll jump in. So we have a brand new subsidiary in Washington State. So I'm actually starting from scratch with them. So it's kind of like a new volunteer program because they haven't done it before. And so what I'm trying to do is really form up what are the opportunities that are active right now and just try to get 1 or 2 of those to happen, because once you get that first volunteer opportunity, you can then have a photo and a story and you share that, and that will inspire others. So really just start baby steps with those 1 or 2 first opportunities, and then it will take off from there. When they see their peers doing it, that sells the program, I think.
I would echo what Stacy's saying, just getting people excited about it. So we have a staff meeting once per week, and we just kind of do a check-in with everyone. So someone could say like, hey, this is what I did for my volunteer activities this week, and it was really exciting. I really enjoyed it. Anyone else want to join me next time? So just really getting employees excited about the program and talking about it, I think, is a great first step.
Yeah, and I was going to add to that, one thing that I think is important to share is that no matter the company, I think you already have people that are actively volunteering. So you might not have your volunteer program, your community service program, but you already have people that are board members or are volunteering in some capacity and are taking that time off work. So you already have folks that are doing that in the company. So having a volunteer program really supports them and also encourages them to, use this time for that purpose.
Awesome.
I think that's a really good point, Mariah. The other thing too is that 99% of the time when I talk with someone who says, I don't know why our program, we're just having trouble getting it off the ground. We've got the hours, but people aren't using them. 99.9% of the time when they tell me their process has multiple barriers to people using it. Either it's incredibly narrow where you're only allowed to use it for a specific type of volunteering, or the approval process is really cumbersome. So maybe from an inclusivity perspective, look at your process.
Great point, Stacy. So I encourage everyone, Stacy, Mariah, and Christina are all very open to sharing with ideas with you. So please feel free to reach out to them. So again, if you can just type your name in the chat window, that's going to be the fastest way for us, and let us know who you want to talk to, and that's going to be the fastest way for us to make connections for you. So thanks to all 3 of you for sharing your incredible insights. So now I want to kick off the portion where our nonprofits get to share their highlights. I actually am going to be running a little timer on my screen because I talk a lot, so I know it's easy to run over a minute. So when you hear the bell, if you can just try to wrap up within the next 5 seconds, that's great. And then once everyone's done, we'll go off into our breakout rooms. So we're going to start with Diane Valadares, Director of Recruitment with CASA New Hampshire. So Diane, we are looking forward to hearing.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocate. Our volunteers work with children who are involved in the Child Protective Services system through no fault of their own. Our advocates get to know these children and speak on their behalf in court so that the judges working these cases can make decisions that serve the best interest of these children. A typical case will last anywhere from 2 to 3 years, and we look for volunteers that can see these cases through to the end. CASA work is unique, and we recognize that it's not for everybody. You're working within the judicial system, which can feel intimidating at times, and the cases can have an emotional impact as well. But our volunteers tell us time and time again that the work they do as a CASA guardian ad litem is among the most significant in their lives. It's challenging work, but if you have an interest in law or in social work, it might be a good fit for you. So I look forward to talking to you later about it. Thank you.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there, Diane. So please take a look at CASA. So next, I am going to invite Michaela Collins, who is the Volunteer Generation Fund Program Officer for Volunteer New Hampshire. Michaela?
Thank you, Michelle. So Volunteer New Hampshire engages communities to solve local challenges through volunteerism. So we're a little bit different than some of the organizations, the other ones participating today. We do utilize volunteers, but we also support your volunteers and volunteer managers. We connect volunteers with meaningful opportunities to serve through Get Connected, a free portal where nonprofit organizations post their volunteer needs for folks to sign up for. We also recognize volunteers and volunteer champions with our presentation of Spirit of New Hampshire Awards each fall. We provide training and professional development opportunities for volunteers and volunteer managers, especially with the Governor's Conference on Volunteerism coming up this May. And finally, we coordinate and administer AmeriCorps resources that come into New Hampshire. So please come chat if you want to learn more about Get Connected, learn how to submit an award nomination, hear about other training opportunities for volunteers and volunteer managers, or to get involved with any of our events.
Great, thanks so much, Michaela. Great place for small companies to go on and find out about volunteer opportunities. So find out about Get Connected. All right, next we're going to welcome Lisa Bueno, sorry if I mispronounced, President of New Hampshire Public Health Association. All right, Lisa.
Hi, so I'm Lisa Bueno, you had it right, although it is a trick name. And I am the board president for the New Hampshire Public Health Association. The New Hampshire Public Health Association is not a trade organization. We're a member-driven nonprofit that champions public health policy, that looks at public health practice, and inspires leaders to improve public health. And what better time to speak to potential folks who might be interested in public health than during a pandemic. So obviously, I think we have all seen this year that public health is a very important piece of our nation's infrastructure. We took the time during the pandemic to develop very focused policy priorities. And so we also are a little bit different from some of the other organizations in that we're not providing direct services to folks in communities, but we're doing the infrastructure supportive kind of things like championing good public policy and providing advocacy. So we have currently things going on related to.
Maybe you can share some more with everyone in the breakout rooms.
Yep, absolutely. So
Awesome.
if you want to hear more about that, come on to the breakout.
Oh, thanks so much, Lisa. And next we'll invite Sarah Caesar, who's the volunteer director for United Way of Greater Nashua. So Sarah.
The United Way of Greater Nashua's main focuses are health, education, and economic mobility. Normally in non-COVID times, much of our work goes into supporting organizations in Greater Nashua working in those areas. We support them with money raised during fundraising events like our Over the Edge rappelling event, Skydive United, our Sleep United Sleep Out in September, and our annual Blizzard Blast Winter Obstacle Race and Taking the Community by Storm Community Run, both in January. We also run direct service volunteer-driven events like food packaging, community gardening, our community baby shower, and our shoebox project for seniors. In addition to all of this, over the past year, we've supported our community during COVID by distributing food supplies to the community, PPE supplies to individuals, nonprofits and businesses, and through our Learn United program, where we distribute school supplies, hotspots, and laptops to kids who need them, and through our tutoring program, where we've matched tutors with more than 50 kids since last fall.
Awesome. Perfect timing. Well done, Sarah. So please take a look at United Way of Greater Nashua. So next we're going to have Chandra Reber, Director of the Center for Women in Enterprise, New Hampshire, and the Women's Business Center. So welcome, Chandra.
Thank you. And it's actually Condra. Sorry.
Chandra, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, remembered.
CWE is an economic empowerment organization that's partially funded by the Small Business Administration, and we focus on helping women to launch and grow small businesses. And even though our focus is on women, we do serve everyone. We do this through providing education through workshops and classes covering topics ranging from the steps to start a business all the way through how to sell your business. And we also offer one-on-one business advising. We create a safe place to come and ask questions and to not know everything. We find that that's very important. All of our services are no cost currently. And even when we do charge, we have a scholarship program to ensure access for everyone. And we also run the New England Veterans Business Outreach Center that provides similar support to active and retired service members and their immediate family. And finally, we also are the New England affiliate for the Women's Business Enterprise National Council that provides women-owned certification for businesses looking to seek private sector contracts for their work.
Awesome. Thanks, Condra. So next we will have Lisa Dendorf, Volunteer Training Coordinator for Friends of Ein Center for Grieving Children and Families. Linda?
So I'm Linda. My topic is not one that people generally like to talk about, but it is so important. 1 in 13 children in the state of New Hampshire have experienced the death of a parent or sibling before they reach the age of 18. And despite these staggering numbers, and because as a community we don't talk about death, many of our children are left feeling alone and like they no longer fit in. At Friends of Anya, we offer peer-to-peer support programs so that those children can come together, talk about their grief, engage in activities, and meet other kids who have suffered similar situations. All of our programs are free to those families and children who need them. And this is only possible because of the commitment and generosity of our volunteers. They are critical not only in co-facilitating our youth programs, but they also help with outreach, fundraising, event planning, and administration and support. So come by the breakout if you'd like to learn more. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda. And next we have Tim Horgan, who is Executive Director of the World Affairs Council of New Hampshire, doing great work internationally. Tim?
Thanks, Michelle. Tim Horgan. We are a nonprofit located in Manchester that looks to serve the entire state, helping people to better understand complex global issues with pandemics, with a rise in China, and all of that fun stuff going on around the world. It's more important than ever that we know and understand what's going on. One of the biggest areas that we have for people to volunteer in is with our international exchange programs. We bring in, prior to the pandemic, around 300 international visitors to the state to have professional meetings with their counterparts, as well as community hosted dinners and other opportunities to meet and greet these people and let them know what the US is really like. So if you'd like to learn more about what we do, happy to see you in a few minutes.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tim. All right, next we have Megan Glenn, who is the STEM Docent Program Manager for UNH Cooperative Extension, STEM docent program. So welcome, Megan. Oh, Megan, we're not hearing you.
Sorry, I was muted. So STEM Docents is a volunteer science education program that trains volunteers to be highly effective in not only teaching STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but also in helping youth build community and trust in group settings that are really necessary for youth to be able to engage in scientific and engineering processes. Volunteers in the STEM docent program go through an application and training process, and our next training begins April 1st, and applications are due March 25th. I also wanted to give a shout out to all of Cooperative Extension volunteer programs. We have over 14 volunteer programs that range in both time commitment and topics, and include opportunities such as working with youth through STEM docents and 4-H, but we also have programs where you can work in natural resources and gardening through volunteer programs such as Master Gardeners and Coastal Research Volunteers. So if you'd like to learn more about STEM docents or any of Extension's volunteer programs, I'd love to talk to you.
Great, thanks, Megan. And now we have Abby Spracklin, who is the multimedia coordinator for the New Hampshire Food Bank. So welcome, Abby.
So the food bank is the only food bank in the state of New Hampshire. We are a program of Catholic Charities New Hampshire and a member of Feeding America, the nation's largest hunger relief organization. We provide food and other resources to a network of more than 400 partner agencies throughout the entire state. We have a ton of volunteer opportunities. Volunteers are vital to our mission. Last year alone, we distributed more than 17 million pounds of food across the state, providing more than 14 million meals. Obviously, COVID-19 has been a very unique year for us. So volunteers are welcome to join us for food sorting, kitchen prep in our culinary job training kitchen, production garden. We have mobile food pantry distributions across the state, and then we're always in need of event support. And I'd love to dive deeper into those with you in the breakout rooms.
I was lucky to be able to volunteer with a group from Stonyfield at one of your mobile pantries in Manchester. It's a great opportunity. So check in with Abby. And last but not least, I'm excited to introduce Chris Rooney, who is actually one of our board members. NHBSR has volunteer opportunities, and Chris will share a little bit more about those. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. It's our goal at NHBSR to bring together companies throughout New Hampshire to drive better sustainability practices. And so we provide a forum for companies to engage each other and share ideas for the betterment of not just individual companies, but for the state of New Hampshire and beyond. We offer many educational seminars and value-add programs for businesses, much like this program today. We're always looking for new members, new volunteers, and more voices to help expand the conversation around how businesses can be a force for good. We have several working groups and committees right now that are looking for volunteers, such as the Housing and Transportation Working Group, the Business Engagement Committee, the Measure What Matters Committee, among many others, which I can certainly talk more about in the breakout session. Of course, we're always looking for ambassadors to help spread the great word about NHBSR. There's many ways to get involved with our organization, and I hope you'll stop by the booth to learn more. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Chris. So now we're going to go to the section where we're going to be opening up the breakout rooms so that you can find out more. Obviously, there are lots of exciting opportunities today. So as Molly opens up breakout rooms, you should see a list in front of you. If you do not, what I would suggest is that you hover over the more at the bottom of the screen. So just to remember, if you want to pick one of your breakout rooms, you'll only stay in it for as long as you'd like, and then you can pop into another breakout room. You can do that by hovering over the lower right side of your screen. And that will allow you to change into another room. It's probably, if you're having any problems, just stay in the main breakout room. Let us know which room you'd like to go into, and we can manually place you there. So no worries. And then if everyone in the breakout room can just kind of chill for a minute and allow everybody to kind of find their way in, that would be awesome. So Molly, if you can open up those breakout rooms, that would be great. All right, so you may have to scroll down to get beyond the unassigned, but then when you scroll down, you'll see the list, and next on the right-hand side of each one, you'll see the opportunity to join. So click on join and you'll go into that room. And again, if you have any problems, just stay in the main room and we'll get you to where you want to go.